Mackenzie Weegar is hungry to win and is tired of losing. I mean, can you blame him?
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I'm your host, Jess, and thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Today, we are going to talk about Mackenzie Weegar and the competitiveness that he misses and why this coaching change might actually be the best thing that could happen for Weegar. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Make sure you are subscribed or following Locked On Flames for free wherever you get your podcasts, and we are also available on YouTube. So let's jump right into it. Is this Team Canada or is this Team Flames? Because Tyler Toffoli is captaining Team Canada at Worlds this summer, and meanwhile Lucic is there, as well as our star of today's episode, Mackenzie Weegar. So Weegar has had 6 points in 2 games, and that's wonderful to see. You know, I think it's really nice to see players kind of just come alive after their seasons ended. You know, it's important to them clearly to obviously like represent their team, but also to keep going, to keep in shape and keep winning. Weegar said he wants the gold medal. It's been a while since he's seen one, and he wants one. And again, can you blame him, especially after the season the Flames had? I'm sure he could use a little bit of confidence under his belt and any sort of, good momentum and good vibes, if you will, on his side heading into next season. He actually got absolutely rocked today. The player ended up getting ejected from the game. So hope he's okay. But I appreciate Mackenzie Weegar for a lot of reasons. You know, obviously he came here, signed, or traded rather, and then signed that extension, right? You know, you're not signing that extension unless you think you can win here. And I get it. It was still early in the season when it happened, and things, could have looked very differently. And there's no guarantee with things like that, but he does not look like he's going to win anything. Obviously he didn't win anything this season. He's part of the first team out. So I think it's going to be a good, just confidence builder for any of these players that are coming back to teams that didn't have successful post or regular season runs or even postseason runs. I think it's important for them that they have something to keep motivating them and to play for. I think that Weegar is one of the most outspoken players on the Flames, and he has made that very obvious. In this article on NHL.com, Mackenzie Weegar talks about how everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong for the Flames. And I'll read the quote right here. But he says, say what you want about him, Darryl Sutter, but he was a great coach. Even if you break down our team analytically, I think we were the 7th best team. It was one of those things of everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And it wasn't Tree and it wasn't Darryl. It was just one of those things. It was just unfortunate it happened the way it did. I like this quote because you know what? He is not shifting the blame on management, on coaching, onto his teammates. Like, he's not throwing anyone under the bus. He's saying, it was a culmination of things that were out of our control. Those external factors that the variables there's no control over those. So I appreciate him being honest and outspoken. And, I think it's great to hear him say that, especially after his interview with missing curfew, I believe it was, where he was like the first player to basically be like, heck yeah, Darryl's out. But it's great. I think that there's like an elephant off of his chest. The elephant in the room is gone. And good things are going to start happening for this, especially when you start building the positive mindset. And probably started building it the game 82, as soon as game 82 ended, because it's the next game mentality. It's okay to be upset about this season. I think, obviously the fans are going to be upset about the product that was on the ice. I can't even imagine having to go out there 82 times and play like that. Are you kidding me? Have y'all ever gone to work and it is just like one of the most soul-sucking things that have happened? You're just like, granted, I'm very grateful to actually enjoy my job, both of my jobs, really. But there have been jobs where I'm like, oh, do I need to go? I can only imagine how that feels for athletes who are just going into the same situation day in and day out. It is the same thing. Like, I think about the Sharks. I think about the Ducks. I think about, obviously, the Flames last year, the Canucks. Look, I think I just named like every team in the Pacific Division. Just about, okay? What is the common denominator here? But no, in all seriousness, you have to build off of something. And if you don't have someone, kind of a little bit hyping you up and kind of getting you excited for next year, what are you looking forward to? And you're just going to come back and, okay, coffee and donuts in the break room. Okay, great. Let's go out there and practice our new lines with this new coach and new general manager, and some new faces on the team. That's what you're getting. And coming up next, we are going to talk more about the success that a lot of this roster saw previous to this past season and why you can't convince me that tanking is real. But before we do that, I do want to tell you about our friends at Athletic Greens. Athletic Greens is a fantastic way to boost your immune system, and it is 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods sourced superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I take AG1 because I want to keep my memory sharp. I want to keep my skin in good health. I want to keep my stomach in good health, and it is lifestyle friendly. So if you're gluten-free, eating paleo or keto, vegan, dairy-free or gluten-free, you are safe and in good hands. And the best thing about it is that it is cheaper than your daily cold brew habit. It costs less than $3 a day, so you really are investing in your health, and it's great to, get all your supplements in one cup and one little one glass, right? And Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews recommended by professional athletes such as Tyler Toffoli and trusted leading health experts in the industry. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is go to athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And thank you, everyone, so much for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. I'm so happy to be here with you, and thank you for sticking around and hanging out with me. It's only May. We have a ton of content coming through this off season, and I couldn't be more excited to hang out with y'all. It is very, very difficult for professional athletes to lose. It's not just like a mouthpiece lip service, like, we really gave it our best go. We did what we could, and they're ready to party. That is not the case. And, I think when you see players go to not so good teams, like great players go to not so good teams, you're not going to convince me that like they're there to tank for like an 18-year-old prospect that could work out at the NHL level. I don't think that that's the case. But very quickly, I do want to talk about just kind of like the overall aspect of this wonderful world championships going on. It's really nice to see players, across the board playing well. Lucic scored a goal. Obviously, Weegar's having a big tournament. I love that these guys just they keep playing. This is so ingrained in them that obviously they're not playing in the postseason, so this is their extended season. And sometimes it might be a little bit better to play for a gold medal, I think, especially if you had a brutal season. Maybe it's okay to just kind of compete for something else this summer. That's okay, because next summer you might be fully in it. You never know. That's just the way hockey works. I think that a lot of these players, if not all of them, take great pride in representing their country, as we hear them talk about all the time. And players are hungry. They don't just stop wanting to win as soon as, the buzzer goes off in game 82 and their season's over. You can't, it's not a switch you can just turn off. You see these guys that play golf, golf is competitive, right? It's a different kind of competitive, but you're still being competitive. You see, them playing in tournaments like this. You see them keeping up with themselves and with the endurance and stamina and training that they need to do through the off season. And what better way to do that than through representing your country, right? Through Worlds. And, I was thinking about this last night. Very random. Sometimes my mind will just take one thought and we will end up down a rabbit hole of Calgary Flames. And this is because Derek Ryan had an excellent pass to Connor McDavid on a goal. I believe that was last night or the game prior. But a majority of this Flames roster from this past season was very familiar with success, whether that be a first round win or, making the playoffs for the first time in your career, or, I think a lot of these guys were, and Nazem Kadri just winning the Stanley Cup, that's also super casual too, right? But I think a lot of these guys had expectations for this season. And to go out there and to be the team on paper and then be that product on the ice has got to be so defeating, deflating. I can't imagine how that feels. I know how I feel after a bad day of work, or my confidence is shaken up because I had a bad review or something. It's just we're all human beings. Even these athletes, they are human beings. So for everyone to just kind of expect them to be we're going to be better, we're going to play better, we're going to do this better, that's not how this works. I think a lot of them have talked about how mentally draining this season was. And it was tough. It was tough to watch. And again, it was probably very tough to play. Not only are you playing like dog doo-doo, you are away from your family. You are away. You're traveling. Traveling is so taxing on the body. I don't care what anyone says. You put me on a plane for 6 hours, I am zonked. I am tired. I am sore. I don't care. So you're adding more and taking more, pouring more from your cup than you're probably giving to yourself. And Kyle Dubas even said it in his exit interview today. He said, I can't comment on what my next steps are because it was a hard year for my family. And that is the reality of this. I think a lot of people just think this is some sort of video game where they can just send their skaters out and do this, and these players are robots. These are real human beings. And we have seen, for God's sakes, half the roster welcomed their first or second born this year. There were a lot of life changes happening while the Flames were sucking. So you weren't able to like get yourself excited for work, I'm sure. Gonna go out there and we're gonna get our butts kicked 8-2 again tonight. Like, let's go. Like, that's what are you hoping for? And I think with this summer, you can kind of build back that hunger and that desire to truly use this new opportunity with the coach and general manager to your own advantage. There are new people coming in that, I mean, you probably all have some sort of connection to them because it's hockey. That's just the way this sport works. But this is someone in a head coaching position that does not know you. You can show them and be like, hey, this is what worked for us last year, and this is what didn't. When you come in here, I need you to know that you cannot go toe-to-toe with me. You cannot go toe-to-toe with that person because for whatever reason, just, it's not because they're quote-unquote soft. Maybe it really took a toll on them last year. Maybe it took such a mental toll on them that they weren't playing well out on the ice. I don't know. Maybe some players like going toe-to-toe. They might play better. They're confrontational and they're playing for spite, right? I don't know. None of us know. Everyone operates differently. And it's got completely sidetracked. But my point is, it's great to see players that had a not so good season want more for themselves and still competing and not just kind of like, okay, I'm going home, Cancun on 3 sort of thing. That's just my take. Again, I really do think that a lot of these players don't give themselves the opportunity to be vulnerable to the media because it just turns into a spin zone of things. And it's not always the best, but when players and coaches and, general managers get honest and get real with you, it can be a little bit of an eye-opener. And coming up next, we are going to wrap up the show with some playoff conversation because I am in kind of disbelief at the way the Eastern Conference Finals have shaken up. But before we do that, I want to tell you about our friends at Gametime. This weekend, Taylor Swift is coming to town, and I will be using Gametime to scour for those last-minute tickets because I want to go. And, of course, buying tickets to your favorite events should not be stressful. It should be as simple as 1, 2, 3, get your tickets, download them to your phone, and into the event you go, right? There are flash deals and last-minute ticket deals that just make this whole experience so much easier, and it's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. So if you're not feeling the whole Taylor Swift vibe, maybe you go see Shania Twain, Blink-182, whoever. Maybe you go catch a sports game. It is baseball season, right? Gametime is the place for last-minute tickets, and right now you can download the app and create an account and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me again on Locked On Flames. It's always great to see people like commenting on YouTube and engaging in dialogue. So come say hi on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed. The Florida Panthers have done the funniest thing. They eliminated the Boston Bruins, who had historically the best season ever in NHL regular season history, and then they eliminated the Leafs. I think there have been some very questionable moments for players like Sam Bennett, but we're not going to dive into that because I don't have enough time for that. But it is so cool to see a team from Florida and a team from Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals. Why? Because they're non-traditional hockey markets. I think it is so fun, and both of these teams are so fun to watch. Sergei Bobrovsky was not supposed to be making playoff appearances. This was supposed to be Alex Lyons' ball game. This was supposed to be his time to shine. And then, Bob comes in and you're like, oh, you can still play hockey. Good to know. And then, of course, just the elite goal scoring there. And the Hurricanes absolutely fascinate me because they are playing without, obviously, Max Pacioretty, who played like one game and then re-ruptured his Achilles tendon. Teravainen, because broke his wrist. And then there was another forward that I'm completely blanking on right now, but basically like a whole line of players that if you insert them into your lineup, you might have a super team here in the postseason. And I love this. I love just, again, the competitiveness, the excitement. Two very unexpected teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, a lot of people had Boston. A lot of people might have even had New Jersey. Thank you again for eliminating New Jersey, Carolina. I'll write you a check later. But there are no Canadian teams left in the playoffs. And I know a lot of people are upset about this, and they're just distraught. They're basically saying, like, we need to go back to the original 6. Maybe we just need to eliminate everything and just play the North Division all over. That's all we can do. Just Canada only. And you know what? Maybe it's because I'm not Canadian. I mean, my relatives are French Canadian, but I don't see how you can blame other teams for your team not making it and not advancing. That's not their fault. That the Panthers were just better than the Leafs. The Golden Knights were better than the Oilers. Like, that is just how it unfolded. I am sorry. And, it stinks. It does. Because, I was so happy for my Leaf mutuals on Twitter because they got to experience something. They got to experience happiness in April instead of dread and doom. Now, and it's the middle of May. It's just delayed a little bit. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are two of the best players in the world. Put your bitterness aside. Put the rivalry aside and appreciate that you are watching this greatness. Remember when the Flames could have traded for Jack Eichel? Remember when that almost happened? Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day when I was watching obviously the Oilers and Vegas game. I was just like, oh, Jack Eichel, what could have been? But also, man, I am absolutely fascinated that the league could not get the game moved up to 8 p.m. Eastern time. ESPN could show the Boston Red Sox getting their socks blown off of them in a 9-1 loss. Again, May game, nothing to do with the standings. Random interleague. It's not called interleague play anymore, but the league just, it's going to be great. Things are trending in a great direction with this and with Fanatics taking over the. But I digress. Derek Ryan, former Flame, had a beast of a postseason. He had some of the smoothest passes to his teammates, and I'm so happy for him. It stinks that he went to Edmonton, but he's playing really well and good for him. I'm very happy for him. And Seattle, you can't talk about the playoffs and not mention Seattle here, because this is, again, their only second year in the league, and they're playing pretty good, I would say. I think that the Stars are just the Stars. You have Joe Pavelski going ham every single night, but Seattle's fun to watch and fun to root for because they're new. They're all underdogs. I'm not really gonna sit here and say expansion team this and expansion team that. It's just fun to watch, and I don't think that it should matter based, you don't have to pay your dues as a hockey team. This isn't a thing. If you come in, we watched this with Vegas. If you come in your first year and you make it to the Stanley Cup final, you make it to the Stanley Cup final. You're just a good team. That's how you're better than your opponents. That's how it works, right? So maybe other teams can take a lesson, can learn, and can watch from these teams because they're clearly doing something right. And We know that the NHL is a copycat league, but I'm excited. I think the conference finals are going to be super, super competitive. The Flames truly lucked out missing the playoffs because these teams were putting up like 6-7 goals a night against each other. The Flames could barely score 3 goals a game. Okay. Like they would have been cooked in the first period. Last night alone, there were 3 goals in like the first 3.5 minutes. Unfortunately, this Flames roster was not capable of doing that this year. They were cooked. They were burnt out, and it's hopefully this long off season will benefit them because they need something to go right for them next year. They really, really do. And I hope you have a great rest of your Monday, or whenever you're listening to this, I hope you're having a great day. Stay hydrated. Remember to be kind, and make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on YouTube as well. And I will see you tomorrow for some more invigorating Calgary Flames